Fareway.
Chris Williams, Chris Hassel. Two guys named Chris. Presented by Fareway Meat and Grocery. From the Channel Seed Studios, this is Iowa Everywhere.
Channel Seed. Seedsmanship at work.
Hello, welcome to Two Guys Named Chris. It is Thursday, the 1st of February.
Oh.
It's February.
You guys made it out of January.
Yeah, it was like 53 degrees here yesterday.
Really?
It was hot. Yeah, I went to this event for our friends at Terraplex Ag, and it was at Wells Fargo Arena. And you know how that big parking lot across from Wells Fargo, you've done that before.
Yep.
And I walked from there. I was like sweating. It felt like it was 90 compared to what we've had this month. Like it was amazing. It was amazing.
I am not looking forward to the weather in Vegas for the Super Bowl. I leave on Sunday.
What
I'll
is
be there
the weather
all
in
week.
Vegas?
The high every day is like low 50s. And our set is outside.
You poor bastard.
We're going to be outside the whole time on a set.
You
I'm going to freeze.
Go and sit at the Super Bowl with all of your pinky in the air friends. What are you drinking? Your cognac? What do you guys?
I'm also.
Drink? What do you national guys drink? Like when me and Randy Peterson are out covering the NCAA tournament, we're just drinking a Busch Light. You know, like we're just chilling. What do you and your people who wear suits to work? What do you guys sit around and drink? You got your pinkies in the air, the little wine.
Everybody's a little bit different. I mean, there's people like Pete Prisco. All he wants is a Miller Lite. You know. And by the way, have you heard of schmegma? Do you know what schmegma is?
A what?
Schmegma.
I don't recall. No.
I learned about schmegma from Pete Prisco as he was drinking a Busch Light or a Miller Lite at the Super Bowl. It sounds like Matt knows what schmegma is because he's laughing. He's smiling.
No, I was going to say, it sounds like some sort of illness Williams would get.
Oh, I think it's worse than an illness. Why don't you go ahead and look that up, Van Wink, what schmegma is? And
well, there's some people in our comments who know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I had never heard of it until old Petey Pie. But, you got Pete who's drinking Miller Lights. You got Brady Quinn who's sipping on scotch. You got people drinking tequila. I'm just the same all the time. I love whiskey cocktails. You know me.
In me, I really just like the whiskey. Like too much. I don't need the extra
too much what?
Stuff.
Too much
cocktail.
Oh, cocktail. Too much cocktail.
I'll do one cocktail, and then I just want the whiskey on the rocks.
I love to start with a couple cocktails, whether it's whiskey cocktails or dirty martini. Slightly dirty martini.
It doesn't matter where we are.
Yeah,
we could be in the shittiest hole in the wall, and you'll be like, "What's your fine bourbon for an old fashioned?" And
no,
like,
I don't. All I want,
Jack Daniels.
No, see, Jack Daniels sucks. Jim Beam sucks. All I want is like Bullet Rye. If you give me Bullet Rye, I'm happy. That's not like a super high scale whiskey. Oh, I thought. Wait, Schmegma Delight is a cocktail. Oh God, it's a half ounce of vodka, a half ounce of bourbon, and 2 dashes of Parmesan cheese. So, do we know what Schmegma is yet?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Was this like a joke that's going over my head?
I mean, it's just so schmegma is. Pete says it's like the stuff that's at the bottom. He never finishes off his drink. Like he leaves a little bit at the bottom. Some people call it backwash. He calls it schmegma. Schmegma is a disgusting blend of.
Oh, I think I smell what you're cooking.
Yeah, it's
like American Pie.
Van Wink, will you just look it up? And
No, don't look it up. This is a family show.
It's not a family show, okay?
We are presented by our friends at Fareway Meat and Grocery. We are in the Channel Seed Studios. I spent all day yesterday with our friends from Terraplex Ag, which was kind of fun.
Yeah, you were up all night.
I was. I had a long night last night. It was fun. I wasn't up all night. I actually went to bed way earlier than normal because I fell asleep in my daughter's bed, putting her to bed. I didn't even have time to work on our show like I normally do, but that was cool. And then I also spent time in Wells Fargo Arena, who's a great partner of ours. And Maddie Van Winks, real quick, we're going to give away some more tickets today. We'll do that later in the show. What are we giving away today? More Zach Bryan tickets and Kane Brown, is that it?
Yeah, we got our second Zach Bryan winner, and all of our shows on the Iowa Everywhere Podcast Network. We're giving away pairs of tickets to the Kane Brown show.
I love Kane Brown.
We'll do that a little
Did
later.
you see Wheezy's coming?
Weezer?
Wheezy.
Who's Wheezy?
Young Money.
Lil Wayne.
Who? Oh,
Young.
I've heard of Lil Wayne. Yes.
Young Money.
I didn't know he was called Lil Wheezy.
Lil Wheezy, baby.
Little Wheezy.
So I looked it up. It's schmegma is a thick, white, cheesy substance, and I'll stop there. Sorry to ruin your little Lil Wayne concert talk. Uh-oh.
Jesus. Let's talk some Big 10 and Big 12
Jeez, you didn't even say
basketball.
bless you.
That was a dramatic sneeze. You were fishing for the.
It was still a sneeze.
You were fishing for. Bless you, Hassel.
You're so good looking.
Bless you. That's a good Seinfeld reference right there. The Iowa basketball team loses a really nice comeback the other night. I thought that they were going to pull that one out at Indiana.
I did too. I thought that game was won when Sanford hit the shot in the corner. That
Sanford's
was
so good.
Called it two.
Sanford's trying to do so much out there for that team, and Perkins is playing pretty well too. It's just, they're just not.
They got no help from anybody else in that game.
It's really tough to watch because that's the Perkins they need.
Yes,
right? Like that's
and
the
he's
guy,
been doing that all month.
Yeah, he's like, what is he, top 5, top 6 in scoring in the Big Ten? Like he's playing really,
he's
really
top
well.
10 in pretty much every category in the Big Ten.
He's playing awesome, but they're not getting any help besides those two guys. And Sanford looks to me like a guy where it's like, if he had help around him, like the level that he's playing at right now, he could be playing really, really good. If he was on one of the teams from the last 2 years, right? Think of the efficiency that guy would be able to put forward with those players around him. I feel kind of bad for him because I've seen now Peyton's game go from here to here, and they're just not getting the payoffs as far as wins and losses.
And it was, Owen Freeman's been so good, and he wasn't able to do anything. I mean, when you run into a team that has inside presence like Indiana did and just a total shot blocking king in the middle, Iowa's going to have a tough time on the interior on both sides. I mean, they were getting so many shots blocked at the rim. They were getting pounded underneath. You get something from somebody like Patrick McCaffrey. I mean, I know fans have been going after him because he isn't producing in the time on the floor. And he did make a great pass to Sanford on the inbounds, but he didn't score in 21 minutes. 0 for 3 from the floor. The Big Ten is so bad that Iowa, I do believe, could be a top 5 team in the Big Ten. I believe that. I think Iowa is anywhere from the 5th best team to the 8th best team in the Big Ten.
Which is wild considering they've lost like 3 of 4, and it's not like Iowa's setting the world on fire, but I don't necessarily disagree with you.
No, but I think that game's in Iowa City and Iowa wins it. I think they're better than Indiana. I think they lost the game, but I think they're better than Maryland. You have this great team at the top in Purdue, and I don't know if I buy into Illinois at this point.
Wisconsin's pretty good.
Wisconsin has really outperformed expectations. I don't know what to make of them. They're up to number 6 in the country.
I thought watching them in the non-conference, I was thinking guard might get fired, and they've completely turned it around.
Yeah. I don't see them at the level of a Purdue. I know their record is up there and their ranking is up there, but I think Purdue is that next level. And then Illinois, I can never really buy into Illinois come tournament time. And then I think it is Northwestern. We saw it again last night. They took Purdue to overtime at Mackey. But then after that, who's the 5th best team? Is it Nebraska? Nebraska got blown out by Iowa. Is it Indiana,
State.
Maryland? Maybe it's Michigan State. Michigan State should be. But
that's the problem with the Big Ten this year. It's like you're not used to them being down, right? Ohio State's way worse.
This could be recency bias. I could be forgetting a year or a spell, but I don't ever remember the Big Ten being this down. They've got Purdue at the top. They've got Wisconsin number 6 in the country. Illinois has been in and out of the top 10. Northwestern's good, but who's next? Usually if you're in the top half of the Big Ten, you've got a good chance of going to the tournament. Now, you might be the 5th best team in the Big Ten, and you might not go to the tournament. It's just a bunch of middling teams once you get past that top 3 or 4.
You truly only have 3 teams that are elite at anything as far as the numbers go. You've got Wisconsin, Purdue, and Illinois are all top 7 in offense. But as far as defense goes, Maryland is 6, but they're 159 in offense. Rutgers is 7 in defense, but they're 300 in offense. Iowa's 18 in offense, but they're in the mid 100s as far as defense goes. So yeah, it's just a bunch of good teams. I still with even with Purdue, if we had to fill out brackets right now.
Oh yeah,
we're not.
Sweet
we're
16 is as far as I'm going.
Yeah. It's a weird.
And the same with Illinois. Illinois
and Wisconsin. Just the way that
Wisconsin
they play.
used to be the team. Wisconsin and Michigan State, I would always pencil those teams into at least the Sweet 16 because they always seem to be really good in March. That hasn't been the case the last several years. But I can never buy into Purdue and Illinois come tournament time. And when you look at Indiana being what they are, Ohio State is terrible. Ohio State's coming to Iowa City on Friday night. How big of a favorite is Iowa going to be in that game? 7?
I can tell you.
Ohio State is horrible.
Iowa,
Michigan is horrible.
A 5 or a 6 point favorite. Yeah.
Okay,
so you're close.
I don't understand.
Iowa will be favored in its next 3 games for what it's worth. They've got Ohio State at home. They will be a favorite at Penn State on Thursday. And then they get Minnesota at home, where they'll be a considerable favorite. Mm-hmm. So this is
already
a key
beat them on the road.
For Iowa. This is a key stretch.
Well, it's
for
a
Iowa.
key stretch to try to keep your head at water level and give yourself a chance come this last stretch of the season when you finally get some quad 1 opportunities. They still don't have a quad 1 win unless the numbers have changed in the last week and somebody's moved up. But as of a few days ago, they didn't have any quad 1 wins. So and there's just not that many opportunities.
They're going to get between February 14th and February 24th 4 opportunities.
There you go. But they're all right in a row toward the end of the schedule.
Yeah, Wisconsin at home, at Michigan State, and at Illinois. And then you also will get Illinois and Northwestern to end your season. So they're going to have opportunities. But, yeah, they really can't – if you're talking tournament with Iowa, they can't afford to lose any of the next 3.
No.
They got to win those 3.
Well, they probably couldn't afford to lose at home to Maryland or on the road to Indiana either.
But we're talking last straw here.
Yes.
If you're going to sneak into something.
Do we care about the NIT? I've seen a lot of NIT talk. I don't either.
Year 15 with Fran. To me, that's
I don't either.
A non-story.
The argument can be made. You got a lot of young players on this team. You've got the Freemans and the Hardings that are true freshmen. NIT would help. And you know what? Probably would. I just don't really care about it. I cared What year was that? 2014. Iowa went to the NIT championship game. Like, I was all in on that. But that was early in the Fran era. That was a program that was rising out of the ashes of the Todd Licklider era. NIT does nothing for me. Maybe it does the team, but nothing for me this season.
I think the NIT is it's a little bit like bowl games now to me, where not that players are sitting out, but these rosters in college basketball turn over so much now. It used to be the NIT. It's like, oh, we're getting a lot of extra experience playing together. Well, half these guys are going to transfer.
But on the other side of that argument, the Iowa roster doesn't change that much. Like these you expect these Iowa guys to still be there.
We'll
don't
see.
You?
I mean, yeah, it has in the past, but weird times. I had this kid, Jack. He's the son of one of the Terraplex guys.
Yeah.
And he's, I don't know, I think he's like 12. Hanging out, having a beer with me and Bloom last night.
What?
He wasn't having a beer.
Oh. What? Are you sure?
Positive. I just wanted to see if you were paying attention.
Of course I'm paying attention.
He had
you
a
let
great
things
idea.
like that slide. I don't.
He had a great idea.
Yeah?
With these bowl games, he thinks that there should be a pot at the end of the – if we're not going to pay the players, which we all think that the players should get some of it to play, that instead of like these bowl payouts going to the band travel or whatever, there needs to be like $500,000 or $1 million payout to the winning team of the bowl game to use for NIL player salaries.
For the players that played in the game?
No, for like the future.
For the future? But what's the incentive for the players
Well,
to
we'll
play in
figure
the
that
game?
out, but I thought it was a good
Wouldn't
idea.
it be...
It's going to make these programs care about these bowl games.
Well, we got to figure something out. I mean, you got this ridiculous thing going on in Tennessee right now where they're trying to... the NCAA is trying to come down hard on them for paying that 5-star freshman that smoked Iowa in the bowl game $8 million. Like, come on. What are we doing here? This is only going to force these programs completely out of the NCAA for football.
So then we have this analyst, Terrence Oglesby. I've never met Terrence. He's from the field of 68, and he's just been getting hammered on social media because he believes that the Big 12 might be an overrated conference.
First person I've heard say that this season. It's a hot
Yep.
take. But
He actually makes a good point, and
you
I don't
have to
disagree
go
with-
beyond him saying the Big 12 might be overrated and look at what he's actually saying here, which there is some truth to this. And we've talked about it on this very program.
Yeah, we talked about this early in the non-conference, and we're pointing this out.
And we explained why Iowa State and others are doing this, which is kind of gaming the metrics system.
Iowa
with
State and
horrible
BYU,
non-conference.
Iowa State and BYU are the poster boys for this. Like, people would look at the net rankings in early December and be like, well, how are they there? They haven't beaten anybody. Well, it's because they're beating everybody by 50. And you walk me through this Terrence Oglesby, and let's break it down.
Well, he says that the reason he doesn't believe the Big 12 is as good as some think is because they didn't really do much in the non-conference. They didn't challenge themselves. Outside of the Kansases of the world, most of the teams are in the – what was that other tweet there, Van Wink? Put the other one up. Yeah, most of the teams are in the upper 200s or even 300s in strength of schedule in the non-conference. And Iowa State is – according to him, the poster child for this, 342nd strength of schedule. That's out of what, 360 teams? I mean, that's bottom 20 strength of schedule in the country for the non-con.
Mm-hmm.
That is by design. We spoke with TJ Otzelberger about this. I was giving him shit about it in his office. Like, what the hell are you doing? What are you playing these
That's
cupcakes
exactly
all
how
the
you
time?
said it to him, too. I witnessed it.
I did. I was like, this is bullshit. What is it? He's like, look,
We don't want to watch this.
this is what they have driven us to. When you are going to value the net and Ken Palm, And that's going to be a factor on where you get seated at the end of the season, or if you make the tournament. Then you need to think about how to get a better net, get a better Ken Pom ranking. How do you do that? Well, for whatever reason, in these metrics, they make it so it's more valuable to beat a horrible team by 45 than it is to beat say a Northern Iowa by 10.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and if you're favored to beat Northern Iowa by 10 and you only beat them by 7, you get penalized for it.
Yes.
Which is hard to beat Northern Iowa by 10.
Now, you can argue, okay, is this in the spirit of the game? No. But what's the goal for every head coach?
Get to the tournament.
Get to the tournament, get the best seed possible, put your program in the best place as possible and the highest ranking that we value. Like, if nobody valued these rankings, if the committee wasn't looking at these, they wouldn't be doing it. If these rankings didn't give extra points for beating a team by 38 instead of 34, he wouldn't be doing it. He's doing the smart thing. It's not good for college basketball. It's not.
No, this is a college basketball program. There's a reason why, Chris, 20 years ago, Iowa and Iowa State played Drake in Northern Iowa the way that they did, because the net and Ken Pom and all this stuff didn't exist.
Yep. Didn't
matter.
So,
and now it does, and this is the way it's set up, and they are going to keep doing it, and then it's going to change.
And I hope it does change. I really do. I hope that either the metrics change, either the net changes, how they value wins, or we change the way, the committee changes the way they evaluate teams. Once they do that, I think we will get better matchups in the non-con. But right now, the Big 12, they, for the most part, outside of Kansas, they did what was best for them and for their ranking. So let's get to the actual argument here. Is the Big 12 overrated?
I don't think so, and I'll put it this way. I do think, just my eye test, I think the Big 12 has a companion with the Big East. I think the Big
You think
East,
the Big East is the second best conference?
I do, just watching the games. Do you disagree?
I was thinking that the other day, actually, because I was doing a segment where we were talking about Big East basketball with some of our analysts.
I think it's really, really good. I watch a lot of Creighton.
I don't know that. I was looking up the rankings. I mean, when you look at the rankings, I think the Big East is 4th.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
But
the
yes,
SEC
eye test.
Don't you think, like, when you watch the games?
Yes.
And the reason I say that, these conferences are so old. When you watch these Big 12 games, most of these schools now, these guys are like 23, 24 years old out there. That freaking how does Omaha Blue not even see the floor? Because he's 18 trying to play against 23-year-olds. It's really hard in the post, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's across the board in the Big 12. Hunter Dickinson, all 3 of Iowa State's guys are 24. They're so freaking old. And that's why I just, up and down at this league, you look at the best teams going on the road to the worst teams, and they're constantly losing. That tells me that I'm watching the games. Like, they're so highly physical. It really is like the Big Ten back when there were 10, 11 teams in it. That's what it reminds me of, when it was just a meat grinder, and it was so physical. You can't be 18 playing in the post in the Big 12 for 4 straight months right now. It's just not, you won't hold up.
Matt, can you pull up the Big 12 standings? Let's dissect this a little more, because I don't think the Big 12 is overrated. Maybe some of the hyperbole, maybe some of the stuff that we put out a few weeks ago. We've talked about it on CBS Sports HQ. Can the Big 12 tie or set the record for the most tournament bids? The record is 11. Big East did it like 15 years ago, back when the Big East was, much different. It was, when Louisville was there and Pittsburgh, and they were really good. You look at this conference, though. Houston, I mean, these are proven programs. I mean, just look at the top here.
With
Houston has been, how many times has Houston, Houston's been to the Final Four recently.
I think they're the best team in the country for what them
They
or
might be.
UConn.
I mean,
Those
they
the
are.
two.
We talked to Jerry Palm a couple of days ago, and he thinks that they're very much in good position for the number 1 overall seed. So they lead the conference by a half game over Iowa State. Texas Tech. Maybe you're thinking, well, Texas Tech was in first place by themselves for a little bit. How could Texas, the first-year head coach? Texas Tech was in the Final Four, what, 4 years ago?
And McCaslin's too is one of those guys.
But
who
Grant
could've-
McCaslin is one of the best coaches in the country. I've done 20 of his games when he was at North Texas. They were elite.
And he could have had Power 5 jobs before this.
Yes.
And he kind of just waited around. This was a good move for him to go to a place where he knew he could win. And again, Chris, it's like, do you really need to – does the term rebuilding year matter in college basketball in 2024? You're not going to be up all the time unless you're one of those. But, like, McCaslin
look what
goes
Otzelberger
there-
did.
Yeah, well, and McCaslin, too. It's like you get 3 transfers who are difference makers, and then you keep a couple of your guys, and boom, you can make the tournament. It's not like it used to be.
So Texas Tech is there. Then it's Kansas. Who's Kansas? Just won a national title a few years ago. TCU, coached by Jamie Dixon, who's just an incredible coach. They haven't had like a deep tournament run, but that's a really good program.
And they're really
Baylor
old,
just
too.
won the national championship a few years ago. I mean,
That's where I kind of like with this Big 12 thing. They've won 3 of the last 4 titles.
Yeah.
It's not,
So this is not an overrated conference, I don't think. I really don't think. I think this conference has proven in years past and already this season that this is the best conference in the country, and I don't think it's that close.
and if you go top to bottom, there's no league with better coaches, right? Like, just top to bottom, this league has the best coaches. And that's really what matters in college basketball right now because, again, the rosters just turn over so quickly. You go up and down on those Big 12 coaches right there, the top 10 programs, they're going to be good every year. It really doesn't even matter. Like, clearly players matter. Don't take me out of context. But they're going to get players is the whole point in that. And I would argue, too, I mean, the Big 12 has been better before with, like, really, really good teams, I think. But
has it?
Like
You think the Big 12 has been better in other years?
Probably with, like, high-end talent. But I'm just saying, like, this year's league, like, you add Houston to it, like, there's so much depth in it.
I can see that argument with high-end talent.
Yeah,
because
think
Kansas is Kansas really a top 4 team? Probably not right now. But
like, it's the league is less lottery picks and it's more older, really good college basketball players. Is the point I'm making? Like, I remember covering the Big 12 and Blake Griffin and Kevin Durant and like you've had those guys. And you
Beasley.
don't have a ton of them this year, but these teams, like, watch Houston. There's not a lottery pick on Houston. They are all these 22-year-olds who play so fucking hard, right? And like, that's the difference between a 22-year-old and an 18-year-old is, one, they know how to play hard every play. And two, you just don't when you're 18. It takes a while. It's very rare, I would say. But two, it's like these guys aren't playing – a lot of these – guys at North Carolina who are old and Hunter Dickinson, right? Like, they're there, one, because it's the best financial decision for them in 2024. But two, they really want to win a national title. Like, it means something to them. They've been through these wars. And that's why Dickinson went to Kansas, to go play for Bill Self, and you can win a national championship and you can have a nice payday at the same. So I would ask Oglesby, like, what is your definition of overrated? Like, do you think they're not the best conference? Because I don't know how you make that argument. Or is he trying to say it's just not as elite as everybody makes it out to be? That would be my question.
Well,
my follow-up to him.
and maybe that's what it is, because you just said you're not even sure it's the best the Big 12 has ever been. And I think some of us have been having conversations like, is this the best conference we've seen in college basketball in over a decade? So maybe there's some hyperbole. Maybe it's not as elite and generational as some would believe, but it is, bottom line, easily the best conference in the country this season.
Who would you put number 2, the SEC or the Big East?
I see these SEC teams losing all the time, at
I would
home.
put the numbers don't state it. The numbers say the SEC, but I still think the Big East would be.
Big East has the defending champion and the number 1 team in the country in UConn, and then you have a Marquette team that's rising, Creighton team that's really good. I don't know top to bottom. I mean, you go to the bottom and the bottom falls out with a team like DePaul, but the Big East is up there for sure. I think it's either second or third.
Two Guys Named Chris, presented as always by our friends at Fareway Meat and Grocery in the Channel Seed Studios. All right, here's the situation. I'm going to have a DRF Sportsbook parlay for us. I don't have it yet because they don't have their Saturday college basketball lines all put together, but stay tuned to all of our social media feeds, and I will be putting one together. I get people all the time that ask, how can we help Iowa Everywhere? They appreciate the content that we put out for free for everybody. It's support our advertisers. That's the only way we make money. And if by you guys supporting our advertisers, they re-sign up with us, and then we can give you the content. Download the DRF Sportsbook app today. You can use the promo code Iowa300 when you sign up and receive a 100% deposit match up to $300 on your first deposit, plus an exclusive $50 bet credit to start betting with Iowa's local sportsbook. This is the only state that these guys are active in. I did see, I got a notification from DRF yesterday that they already have Cyhawk props up for the Super Bowl. So go
nice.
And, check that out. Next week we'll do a lot on that. Hassel's going to be in Vegas for the Super Bowl. I think I'm going to do a Super Bowl deal with Sage Rosenfels as well. He has great insight because Kyle Shanahan's like a good friend of his, and obviously Sage watched Brock Purdy forever at Iowa State, so we'll have really good insight on that aspect.
You totally whiffed on your first prop, didn't you? Or your first parlay?
Yeah.
Did any of that hit?
No. Well, Purdy went over.
Purdy over, yeah.
Yeah. Not great, Bob. Not great. I'm going to lock into the local college basketball scene, though. That's what I'm going to do.
Oh, lock in, baby.
Yeah. I love this time of year. This is a great time of year for college basketball because every game actually starts to matter, and we start talking seeding. Right now, Chris, if the tourney would get seeded right now, Iowa State would be playing in Omaha, which would be a huge benefit for the Cyclones because you're looking – Creighton can't play there.
Okay.
And
so if you're a top 4 seed, Iowa State would go to Omaha?
Yeah. And like the other one you're kind of competing with is Kansas, and you're seated ahead of them right now. So it would be a huge benefit for Iowa State. That's kind of what I'm looking at right now. And the other thing we have to look at with Iowa State is that if you're really into the conference tournament, some people are not. But they have a double bye now in the Big 12 tournament because it's not a round robin league anymore. Mm-hmm. And everything's all jacked up. I hated the Big Ten, what they're doing in the future by 3 teams are going to get left out. I understand their issue when you have these freaking leagues that are so big.
It's too damn big.
But, man, like, we used to see this, like, remember when Syracuse won the Big East tournament? They won in the, like, play-in
Yeah,
round
I know,
and, like,
but they didn't finish 18th in the conference. I don't know what you do. Honestly, I don't know if I like that or if I don't. The thing is, though, the conference tournaments are being so devalued for the teams that are already in the tournament.
Yeah.
To your point, the conference tournaments really are only a huge deal for the teams that are trying to play their way in.
Yeah, that's why
whether it's a team that's on the bubble or a team that has to win the whole thing. So I kind of understand from that angle because the committee just doesn't like the difference between Iowa State losing the first game or going to the championship game. It might not even move them a seed line, which is insane. I don't get it.
Well, it's hard because you're playing these quad 1 teams every night.
Yeah.
And like a tournament game in Kansas City isn't valued more by the computers. So you're just mixing it in with 20 other quad 1 games that you've already played.
Yeah. Now you're playing more conference games than ever because the conferences are so big.
I actually think there's some reality like with this league and as physical as they play that you may be better off with an earlier exit, like one and done or because just the wear and tear of playing 3 in a row or 4 in a row in that league on 3 straight, especially with Iowa State with Lipsey's injury. You guys can kill me if you want. I'm not saying I hope that they lose, but I think there's an actual conversation to be had about it. As long as you don't lose to like Oklahoma State in the first round or something like that that could hurt you. But anyways, Iowa's offensive coordinator situation.
It's official.
Are you excited now, or have you bought in the RPO coming to Iowa City? Are you about 20 years after everybody else? Are you fired up for this Tim Lester?
Fired up wouldn't be the right way to put it. I
was being sarcastic, but you know that.
I know. I don't.
I thought you had a good
despise
measured take
it
the other day. Yeah, no, you had the right take the other day. That's my kitchen refresh for Iowa.
Yeah.
Kitchenrefreshiowa.com.
Go ahead.
You know that if you change your cabinets out completely, it's millions of dollars. I'm kidding. It's not millions of dollars, but it is tens of thousands of dollars. I just got mine done, and it looks freaking brand new. Looks like I have a brand new kitchen. Was not tens of thousands of dollars. Use your tax-free fund on this. You make your wife happy as well. Kitchenrefreshiowa.com by our friends at No Pros, and tell them that Iowa Everywhere sent you. My kitchen refresh is you had the right measured take on this Tim Lester guy. His numbers, like if you just look at him on paper, it's not a great hire. But like I'm right there with you. Like what hire could they have made that wasn't Paul Chryst that would get fans like, yes, let's go. Like to get them to react like the Caden Proctor commitment wasn't going to make that hire. What are you going to do as a fan? There's part of me, it's like, okay, so you're either going to quit spending your money, quit going to games, or what are you going to do? Like, wait and see what happens. There was nothing that could come from this that was going to get people fired up. You had a measured take. You're not too amped up. Like some of the stuff that I'm seeing now, it's nauseating. It's like, God, guys, you've never once liked a Kirk Ferentz offensive coordinator. Think about it objectively. This is why, right? You've never liked one of them. I listen to Sound Off every week. You're always pissed off. You're probably going to be pissed off at this guy too, right? But you just hope for the best and hope that the right changes are coming. I thought you had a good take on Monday.
What do we think the offense is going to look like? Because he does have an RPO background, and a lot of fans are thinking, if you hired this guy and he's an RPO guy, you're going to be running a lot of RPOs. You've got Cade McNamara as the quarterback, who's not very mobile. Wasn't very mobile.
Yeah, nothing screams
before
RPO
another
like
injury.
Cade McNamara.
Now I have asked around. I talked to Mike Golick Jr., for instance, who was a really good offensive lineman for a Notre Dame team that went to the national championship game. And he says you don't necessarily have to have a mobile quarterback to run an RPO system. It's because you need a guy that can make the quick, fast reads. That's the most. If the quarterback can make quick reads, then you're already ahead of the game, and that's where the RPOs can work. My question is, how much of it do you think we're actually going to see? Like, is Kirk Ferentz just going to turn it over to this guy and he's going to be able to do everything he wants schematically? Or is Kirk Ferentz still going to lord over this thing and say, well, we still want to be us? Like, you can do a little bit, you can put a little twist on things, but we're still going to be what we've been here in my successful 25-year career.
Yeah, I think it's a good take.
What do you think, though? What do you think we're going to see?
I think that you'll see tweaks, but I don't think you're going to watch Iowa football.
Tweaks.
Like,
I agree with that. Tweaks, little tweak, and
I
maybe it'll be great. Maybe the little tweak is all they need.
The thing
you know what
is,
it does,
like,
though? If you run an RPO, though, Williams, you instantly become more variable than Iowa's offense has been the last few years.
They just have been. This was my whole thing on the Caden Proctor deal that I felt got taken out of context by many fans. Will Caden Proctor still be a really high draft pick? Absolutely. Will Caden Proctor have an opportunity to grow at Iowa? Absolutely. But his job gets harder because of the predictability of the offense, right? Like it's harder to be a lineman. It's harder to be a running back. It's harder to be a quarterback. It's harder to do anything when the defense knows what's coming 80% of the time. That's what they've got to do with this guy, is to be less predictable and not have so many tells. Talk to college football players across the country. Look at Scott Docterman's piece. It's so predictable what they're going to do, and it's not just us here being talking heads. The opponent knows what's coming 80% of the time. It makes your job as an offensive. This is why I don't think their line's that bad. I don't think they're that bad. I think that line, if you go and put them with 90% of other offense, is very serviceable. They've got to get away from that, and if these tweaks or whatever can do that, then you're going to see a big improvement, and as long as the defense and special teams don't have a drop-off, Iowa should be pretty good. Now,
well, like we talked about, like this guy doesn't have to come in and light the world on fire. If you make a few tweaks, as you said, you go from 80% predictability to 50% predictability. Maybe you go from offense 130 to offense 99, which is all I've been asking for these last few years.
Yeah.
So, and as we talked about on the show Monday, before this became official, but we knew the hire was going to be made because it had been reported by several outlets, maybe this guy is a quarterback coach and a record-setting quarterback in the MAC back in the day. Maybe he can actually develop quarterbacks, which Iowa has not done for a long, long time, and even go all the way back throughout Kirk Ferentz's 25 years. You rarely find a quarterback who was better at the end than he was at the beginning. Maybe this guy fix that and make a difference in that way.
I've sucked you right back in.
Can I do my kitchen refresh?
I'd love it.
Okay. And again, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars to replace my cabinets, so I haven't gotten it done yet.
Actually,
Kitchen
down in
refresh
Florida,
hasn't come down.
Inflation, East Coast elitism, it's probably $1 million.
How's my internet, by the way?
Bad, really bad.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's terrible.
So
your
why didn't you?
Well, your audio's fine, but your video keeps buffering. But I can hear you.
Damn
it's
it!
fine.
Well, why don't you tell me? I could have switched to my hotspot. I'm gonna have to start using the hotspot every show. Okay.
What is wrong down there? Do you live in like a retirement community where people don't use internet? Like, what the hell is?
You know how they have Mediacom Court in Iowa City? I live on Mediacom Court, CT. It's a cul-de-sac owned by Mediacom, and we have Mediacom internet.
How we don't have an internet company that's not Mediacom sponsoring us is beyond me. Like, it's insane. I pitched it to them, and they were like, we don't do influencer stuff. And it's just like,
influencer
what are you
stuff.
doing?
Okay.
I could have sold, for the company that I use, we could have sold 200 new subscriptions because people around here are so tired of Mediacom and they just don't know about the competition.
Well, I looked into Starlink because a lot of our listeners told me about that. So the thing is, you have to buy like the dish. It's like $3,000 to buy the dish.
It's not $3,000.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
What? I looked
like
into it.
$700.
No, it's like $3,000, and then it's another. You're probably paying another $150, $200 a month on top of that.
You need tax write-offs. You're a business owner now.
That's true. Chris Hassel, LLC. Can I get into my kitchen refresh finally?
Go for it, brother.
Okay, this is a kind of a different take, I think. But the kitchen refresh is supposed to be you give a take on Iowa, I give a take on Iowa State. So
mine was tweaks.
Did you hear Jamie Pollard on Murph and Andy this week?
I just saw quotes. I haven't got to listen to it yet. It's been a week from hell.
You have way too many weeks from hell.
It's been a bad week.
Man.
We got wet coughs again.
Oh, Jesus. So
I
think Jamie Pollard is an incredible AD and the perfect AD for Iowa State. I've been jealous of him, of Iowa State fans, having Gary Barta all these years. But this whole thing where he goes on these tangents and like attacks his own fans it blows my mind. It's beyond me.
What did he do?
So, I mean, this is just the latest in a long line of times that he's done something like this.
Because the beer thing has been a topic of he gets amped up about that.
Yes, and I that also I can't. We've talked about that on this show. You need beer sales. I do not buy that. The majority of Cyclone fans that go to these games don't want beer sales. I don't buy that. Anyway, so they had this little ceremony for an official, a Big 12 official before
Hollywood
the game.
Higgins.
Hollywood Higgins. And they announced that, and Iowa State fans online basically said, why are we doing this, honoring an official, when we haven't even honored some of our greats, retired some of our great numbers, brought some of these guys back for a Hall of Fame type ceremony. And he took that as like a slight to Higgins, and some people were saying, well, we're going to boo him. We're going to boo. That was, I'm sure, just a few people. Okay.
They didn't. He got a standing
no, they
ovation.
didn't. And that's so he went on Murph and Andy and he said, everybody online saying we're going to boo him. Well, nobody booed him, and that's another that's proof that these people online are not going to the games. In effect, is what he said. They are not representative. They do not represent the classy Cyclone fan that is in attendance every game at Hilton and at Jack Trice Stadium. And he's totally poo-pooing the opinions of these people online. Like people that I know for a fact, a lot of these people who had those opinions and have had these opinions about other things do go to the games, do spend a lot of money. And he talks down to them. And I just don't understand why he does that. Maybe he doesn't care. Maybe he doesn't give a damn. Maybe he doesn't think he needs those fans. But they're fans. These are like hardcore fans. Some of your biggest fans.
It's what makes Iowa State great. You don't have all the rich people, but you've got rabid.
I think he's an incredible athletic director. And some of the things that he does that they make that's what makes him so good. Like I do like the fact that he's willing to go out there and go on these radio shows and say what he really thinks. But this propensity to just go nuts and just go blocking all these people, these people that are huge fans and spend money and go to these games, that's going to have an effect someday. Like you might be getting enough right now from all the other people. But why can't just let it be?
I don't know. I guess I go here. He's been the athletic director at Iowa State for almost 20 years.
Yes. Does that give him the right to just totally talk down about these people on that are, because he clearly believes that these people that are online, whether it's on Twitter or on a message board on your Cyclone Fanatic, that they are a different class level of Cyclone fan. Should there be a different class level of Cyclone fan?
Well, I think in some capacity there always is, right? Because there's people who are in the suites and on the court side, and then there's the people who aren't. And like, should there be? No. It's the Seinfeld. We should live in a world without a class system, right? That's where Jerry gets to sit in first class and he meets the Victoria's Secret model while Elaine's in the back and coach, and that fat guy next to her keeps like coughing and snoring. You know that episode?
Yes.
I just wonder, and the only reason I say this is I can somewhat relate to it myself.
Relate to what?
When you've done it for so long, and when you pull up your feed and 70% of your feed is like the loud 5%, and they all just are telling you how much you suck all the time. Again, I've experienced this. I wonder if
but
he's
are
just
these
like,
fans? I don't see that. Like, I don't see Iowa
I don't
State
know.
fans.
I have no idea
saying
what's in his.
Jamie Pollard sucks and is not a good athletic director. All they're doing is arguing for things that they think could improve the game experience or honor past legends. I don't think anybody's out there saying Pollard sucks.
No, I'm trying to.
Unless you're an Iowa fan.
I'm trying to psychologically get into his head because I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe some Iowa State fans correct me. I don't think he was like this 10 years ago. I mean, he's always been brash, and that's why he's beloved. You know, he put up the billboard in Iowa City.
And I like that about him too, but it used to be he was like that toward Iowa fans. Like he'd stick it in Iowa fans' face. Like I don't understand why you would do it to your own fans. And there are some that do go overboard. And I'm sure he's got emails and letters from people who are totally unhinged. But I think at the same time, while he's going after these maybe completely unhinged people that aren't spending money, he's also lumping in these fanatics that do.
There's probably
and that
a
are
level of truth
extremely
to both.
passionate.
And that you do have to have those people at Iowa State because, again, there's just not enough money. It's not this isn't even Iowa, right? Like there's just not enough rich people at Iowa State. This is a thing where it's got to be like I always say this with like with what Bloom's trying to do. It has to be a grassroots thing because it's not you don't have 15 people funding 90% of it like most of these collectives are. You've got 5 rich people. And they're not as rich as the rich people in your competitive schools. So it's got to be from the ground up. And it's always been like that at Iowa State. So I think Jamie knows that. Because he's talked about it before. I just wonder, like, if it's worn on him. I don't know. I'm trying to play psychology here.
Yeah.
Because I can see it. Like, I have way less patience online than I used to. And I'm getting probably 10% of what he's getting. Just trying to be fair here.
But I understand that. But I think a lot of the people that you might have problems with online that you've had to block are also Iowa fans. And I'm not talking about
there's
Iowa fans.
only like what's weird is like there's only like 5 Iowa fans who are truly dicks to me. Most of them are pretty cool with me now. I feel like I've earned my keep with Iowa. They know I'm not. Now the one thing, if they go and hire this Budmeyer guy
as wide receivers coach.
What is this guy still hanging around for? That's my other kitchen refresh. What is this guy still hanging around? What has he done? What has this Budmeyer done? Budmeyer?
Well,
Budmeyer?
You know what he did? He brought Deacon Hill to Iowa City.
Hill.
Who would Iowa have had if they didn't have Deacon Hill last year?
Volunteer. I mean, I don't know him. I'm sure he's a good guy. What the hell does this guy belong on the wide? You need a good wide receivers coach. It hasn't exactly been a beacon of production in Iowa City for a while.
Well, let me play devil's advocate here. He must have a good history of developing wide receivers. He must have been a wide receiver, right?
I don't know. You just put it in the rundown that he's going to be the offensive.
No, it's rhetorical. He does not have any history. I don't believe.
Okay. I have no idea. It's just funny to me. He just keeps hanging around every year. There's a new Budmeyer's getting promoted. Oh, did you know he brought in this guy from Wisconsin? He was a quarterback at Wisconsin. Oh, he turned out to be Deacon Hill. It's just I remember when he came there. It's like Brian's not a great quarterbacks coach, but they're bringing in this volunteer assistant from Wisconsin. He's got a pipeline. This Budmeyer just keeps hanging around.
Have you noticed the people in the comments today are fired up?
Yeah, they're really mean.
Steve Kemp has been on one all day, but now
Steve's
Frankie,
like my second dad. Why is he being so mean?
He's fired
today?
up. Now Frankie says Don Hassel sucks. My dad hasn't even commented today, has he? He hasn't been on here.
Why are you guys being so rude on a Thursday? See, this is what I'm defending Pollard for. Like, I mean, if we just paid attention to all this for 20 years, it would get really annoying.
Okay, I guess my dad did comment earlier. He just said Big Ten
Why are you guys such dicks today?
Geez, Steve Kemp said the first 30 minutes of the show sucked.
You know what, Steve?
Why, Steve? Because we talked about Iowa?
Yeah.
Steve, we got to talk about both. It can't all be Iowa State. Jesus.
What else do we want to hit on today?
Well, we got our cheers to the weekend, don't we?
Oh, the cheers.
You got a nice
to
little
the
package
freaking
in the mail, huh?
Yeah, brother.
Tell
Big
me.
package. Got a big package
Huge
going.
package.
Look at that.
Steeple Ridge
That's
sent
good.
4 bottles of whiskey. Pat Hoffman, thank you so much.
Pat's the greatest guy ever. love
I
him
can't.
to
Well,
death.
I've got one right here. I brought one back with me.
Which one
into
is
the-
that? It's purple?
This is the purple one. This is the. It's the bourbon finished in cherry casks that I can't wait to try. And
That'll be
that's
good.
my cheers to the weekend. I'm going to be trying some of this stuff this weekend before I head out to Vegas for the Super Bowl. Looking forward. I'm going to open that up tonight.
It's really good bourbon, man. I really, really love it. I think, and he's just one of the neatest people too. He's just a guy who was a farmer and he had this dream to make really good, high quality spirits. And someday we got to go out there and tour his entire farm and distillery and out and see it because his setup's just awesome. My cheers to the freaking weekend is the fact that I don't have a game to cover and I'm just going to stay home all weekend. And I
Oh,
can't
that's
wait.
your favorite thing in the world.
I love
And
it. I can't wait.
Honestly, it's one of my favorites too. Like
Yes.
it's great covering games.
Yes,
It is.
It's my passion. I love doing it.
But
I'm
it's
gonna-
rare to have a weekend where you don't have that. And so you can just sit back, relax, be like everybody else, and enjoy all the other games going on.
I'm going to just sit back and watch the greatest conference in the history of college basketball, the Big 12.
Oh, my buddy
All
Rotisserie
weekend long.
Chicken is going to be on the call for Iowa State Baylor.
Rotisserie chicken?
Yeah, Mike O'Donnell, who I called the Northern Iowa game with, he is going to be on the call for the Iowa State Baylor game. Yes, his nickname is Rotisserie Chicken because he just eats rotisserie chickens.
Oh,
for
yeah.
every
You've
meal.
talked about rotisserie chicken before.
Yeah. The first thing he does when he travels, he goes to a new town. Like first thing he did, he landed in Des Moines, went for the Northern Iowa game, drove to Cedar Falls, went to the nearest grocery store to the hotel, bought all of their chickens, took them back to the hotel, and just devoured them. That's all he will eat is chicken, and he'll drink water. I went out to eat with him. He was down here in the studios for CBS Sports HQ last weekend. He's like, hey, let's go out for some dinner and drinks. How about that? I said, okay, great. Where you want to go? Let's go to Louis Bossi's, which is an Italian joint. Really nice Italian place. And so we go out. My wife comes with. We meet him out there. Sit down at the bar. Oh, what are we having to drink, Mike? I'm just going to have a water. And, okay, what do you want to eat? You got all this great Italian food here. Bone-in ribeye is the special. Great. Everything is awesome on the menu. He goes, do they have any rotisserie chicken? He finds the one chicken dish on the whole menu, and it's a half chicken. I said, I don't think half's going to be enough for you, man. You're used to the full bird. He said, oh, it'll be great. Gets the half chicken. Not only is he just the most bland person in the world, goody two-shoes, he can't handle any spice. Like the guy can't, if there's any pepper on anything, that's too spicy for him. So he orders the half chicken, too spicy. Can't eat it. This is the guy that's calling the Iowa State Baylor game this weekend.
So you want us to give him all sorts of shit. Get that.
Well,
get
he
that
did.
Delinquent Iowa State Twitter fan base. Get them all fired
No,
up.
no,
towards
because he
rotisserie
loves
chicken.
Iowa. He's too nice of a guy. He wouldn't be able to handle it. He says he's going to give a shout out to Iowa everywhere.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll see. We'll see if he can sneak that in.
We'll be keeping track of that. Get one of these
Because
guys.
you'll never do it, Hassel.
Look, I just
conflict of interest.
I don't like to shoehorn things in. It just has to come naturally. It's
Like
gotta be
calling me
natural.
out for bad stats.
Yeah, when you handed me a horrible stat, a false stat on the Learfield broadcast, I had to say, look, we've got this new stat guy this week, and he sucks. Matt Van
Daddy
Suckle.
Van Wings.
Matt, what are you doing this weekend? You start prepping for the Super Bowl? You got any?
God, I just got to take a week off and prep, get ready. No, it's gonna be nice here this weekend. I'm gonna take my daughter out. She got a new bike.
Oh,
take her out for a little bike ride. A little early February bike ride.
Jesus, that's a weekend.
Real quick, Eli's asking us if Iowa State will play Wednesday or Thursday in Kansas City. What did he give us $15?
Yeah,
Is that how that?
Yeah, so this
Wait,
is
what?
a new thing on YouTube. So this is Eli's a new super fan on Twitter or on YouTube.
Sweet.
So yeah,
he just
you
gave
can
us
actually,
$15.
If you want to show up first in our chat and get this nice little gold ribbon, you can give us money on YouTube.
Wait a second.
Sweet.
So you're saying you just did a call out. Hey, if you want to show up and be first, if you do that, if you come early, then you can give us money.
I
don't know. It just showed up.
Dollar amount, but
I didn't
cool.
ask for it. He just gave
Thanks,
it to
Eli.
us. Eli's a great guy, too. I've met Eli before. I sat with Eli, just bumped into him randomly at Size Roost in Ames, and we had a great night together one time.
Yeah, we got to
That's
give
where I
away
met
these
Eli.
tickets, by the way.
When are we? What we got to do? We got to figure out. We got to do something with the money. We can't keep it. We'll think of something.
I think
You can
Eli
use it
that
for your
Iowa
Starlink
State.
internet.
Yeah, get Hassel.
The
Donating to
Starlink
Hassel's
internet
I'm gonna
fund.
need a lot more money than that. It's $4,000.
It's
for
not
on, people.
$4,000. You're doing like me in the kitchen deal. It's like $500-$600 to get the satellite dish. I think Iowa State will play on Thursday if it would start right now, but you don't know. It's too early. It's that damn double bye in the Big 12 tournament. Nobody knows. It's really hard. So, Iowa State could lose 2 in a row here because they got to go to Baylor, and then they're staying down in Texas, and they got to go to Austin on Tuesday night. So this could be a little road losing streak for the Cyclones. I think they have a shot to beat Baylor. I don't think they'll beat Texas on 2 days rest down in Texas, but Otzelberger owns Scott Drew. Like they always play them really, really well. Doesn't matter where it is. So we'll see. So yeah, let's get after it. Let's we'll see each other. So real quick for everybody, we are I think going to record Monday's show on Sunday because Chris is doing all sorts of Super Bowl stuff for CBS Sports HQ. Now, with that, I might do a little extra programming because that's just we just got another $5. Lemosky's given he wants rotisserie chicken with the $5 that he just sent us. Thanks, $20. We just made $20.
All right.
We will keep you guys updated on when the shows are coming up next week. It will be different though, and we just want because we're going to be on totally different time zones. Chris has his own schedule. We'll have all the same content. It's just going to be at a different time. So stay tuned to all of our social media feeds. And last but certainly not least, we need to do our giveaways here with our friends from the Iowa Event Center. I'm going to let Matt Van Winkle take it away.
Yeah, you can still get in on the Zach Bryan contest, iowaeverywhere.com. Get those entries in. We're going to do our second winner, though, guys. We got our second pick. We're going to do a little drum roll.
I really hope it's not Steve Kemp. No Steve Kemp.
Yeah.
Jay Cleveland is our winner.
Jay Cleveland.
Congrats,
All right.
Jay.
Congrats, Jay. That's a big-time ticket you just got right there. Awesome. And then we're doing the Zach Brown next, or what's his name?
Kane Brown.
Jesus
Brown.
Williams.
So I got a
Zach
little
Brown's Real Country. I forgot.
I have a little setup for this. So I'm going to throw us back to March 2nd of last year. A little callback to our show. This is a little tie-in to our winner here. So I'm going to play a clip for you guys real quick.
We did have a listener reach out. Michaela reached out to me.
Yeah.
And she wanted to have us wish her work partner, Jake Glendenning, a happy birthday. He is apparently a religious listener to our show, watcher. I think he's probably watching right now.
Now, what is a work partner?
Well, I don't know. She referred to him as her partner in here, and I mean, maybe they're together.
Okay, I'll just stop it there because it goes a
Wait,
little long.
wait.
But anyway, you want me to keep playing it?
And no, it's okay.
Okay. Well,
Work
anyway,
partner.
yeah, she wrote in and wished Jake a happy birthday, her work partner, and we didn't really know what that meant.
Uh-huh.
Well, Jake wrote into us and said, I wanted to reach out and discuss the recent tweet regarding telling us why we are thankful for our partner for a chance to win Kane Brown tickets. My partner story is actually tied to two guys named Chris. On the March 2nd, 2023 episode, Chris and Chris discussed my work partner, Michaela, wishing me a happy birthday. They couldn't seem to come to that conclusion of what a partner actually meant. Ironically, the day before the show aired, my partner and I had just gotten engaged in Colorado on a ski trip. Look at this.
Oh, my
He
God,
sent pictures. Our wedding is coming up in May this year.
Well, but that's not a work partner. That's a life partner.
Well, maybe she was trying
great.
to be.
Incredible.
Look at these
Wow, what a
guys.
picture.
That's a lovely couple.
Holy smokes.
Look at how happy they are. Those poor kids have no idea what marriage is going to do to them.
So congrats to Jake, Glendenning, and Michaela.
All right.
You're going to Kane Brown.
That's awesome.
That's very cool, man.
Hey, did you say Kane Brown's wife is going to be there too?
She's on that one song with them, right? Or no?
Oh, she's got Gabby Barrett. She's got a lot of songs. She's great.
That would be cool.
See, this is the concert I'd love to be at.
You can still get your entries
on
in
up.
for this one, too.
We'll fly you up. I'll pay for your flight, Hassel. Get
Just
your
email
ass up to Kane Brown.
Win
I'm
at
looking forward to
iowaeverywhere.com. Win at
Cody
iowaeverywhere.com.
Johnson is the one I want to get to. He's coming on May 7th.
Now, what does he sing?
He's just you wouldn't know him. It's really diehard country stuff.
Jeez. Every time I ask you, like, what does this person sing? You can't tell me anything.
Well, just Cody Johnson.
This is the
And then
one
my
I'm
guy
pumped
Justin
for.
Moore is opening for him. I'm really fired up for that.
Okay, what does Justin Moore sing?
He sings the songs about, like, if heaven wasn't so far away is probably his top song. Small Town USA.
I live in small town USA. Don't you dare come in here and tell us what to do. We're gonna punch you in the face.
Actually,
and a dog will bite your nuts off.
It'd probably be more like, I'm going to shoot you, Justin. But I'm not kidding. I was at a Justin Moore concert one time. If you can get... And this was at the State Fair probably 10 years ago. And all the lights are off. And he's getting ready to sing a song called Guns. That's what it's all about. And Justin Moore is standing up there on stage, and again, this is a State Fair, like, Friday night. You know the vibe. And Justin Moore goes, I believe in the right to freedom in the United States, but it's also my show. And if you don't vote Republican or believe in the Second Amendment, then fuck you.
Oh my God!
It was like in the crowds, just like, yeah. And then I look over. Bloom was with us, and Bloom's just like,
oh jeez.
Bloom's never seen a gun in his life.
I went to a Rascal. The
wild.
first concert I ever went to was because my wife wanted to go see Rascal Flatts at the Unidome in Cedar Falls. This was
that sounds terrible.
2003 or something. And
I'd rather have my nuts shot off by Justin Moore.
I think Cyclone Larry has had his nuts blown off a few times. So we go up there, and this guy opens for Rascal Flatts, and I don't know if he's around anymore, but he was like this. He was this guy that would change all the words to the country songs into something different. I can't remember his name, but he was a big deal like 20 years ago.
Like Uncle Cracker?
No, it was not Uncle Cracker. This guy would play country music songs, like well-known songs, but he would have the lyrics changed. He was kind of like the Weird Al Yankovic of country.
Oh, okay.
But this guy came out, and it was right around the time the Dixie Chicks said something bad. Cletus T. Judd, Adam comes in.
Nerd.
Cletus T. Judd is his name. It was right around the time the Dixie Chicks, criticized George Bush. And so all the country fans are in arms. Like, they're getting boycotts. And he comes out. He's like, hey, everybody. I hope we don't have any Dixie Chicks fans in here. They suck. And then it was like, yeah. Everybody's screaming. Country music, man.
Oh, it's something. It's something. All righty. That'll be fun. Hassel, enjoy the Super Bowl. We'll be in touch.
Yeah, I think we're going to do the show. I think I'm going to be in Atlanta switching flights. That's when I'm going to do the show. I've got like a 2-hour layover. I think we'll do that on Sunday.
God, Steve Kemp is still bitching in the comments. Steve, go have a beer. Just calm down. We love you guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks to our presenting sponsor, Fareway Meat and Grocery. Signing off from the Channel Seed Studios, I'm Chris Williams for Chris Hassel and Matt Van Winkle.